Welcome back to JCPod, partner with Stare Down Sports. Stare Down Greatness. Man, what a weekend we had. There were some surprising ass kickings. There were some really, really close games. And, oh boy, we had some very, very sad injuries. So, there's a lot to go over in this football world that we got to talk about today. Today, we're going to go over the NFL. I'm going to recap week 3, go over the games and everything, as well as talk about some news. Then after that, we'll go over college, recap week 4. Talk about some of the news there, and then we'll finish it off with the top 25 for today, and then pretty much set it up for tomorrow where, man, it's flying by too quick, man. It really, really is. But let's get into it, man. So we're going to start talking off with the Thursday night game from last week. Wow. Dolphins put up a decent fight, I'll admit. They put up a good fight. Well, they ended up losing 21-31, and let's be honest, that Matt Prater missed field goal would have made the cover happen. The Dolphins did at least put up a fight. This was a game where they showed us, like, okay, hey, they aren't the worst team in the NFL. That's for damn sure, especially after this weekend. Oh, boy. But they did, like I said, they did at least put up a fight. Josh Allen ends up with 3 passing touchdowns. Terrell Bernard gets an interception late to seal it for him. Ollie Gordon scored the first touchdown. And he started getting a decent more, usage. He got used a little bit more, so that was nice to see from the Dolphins because Devon Achane's good, but he's not like a power back. Ollie Gordon has a chance to be their power back, so seeing him get some play was awesome. But like I said, the Bills ended up winning 31-21. Is a great win for them. It ended up being 14-14 going into halftime, so it's one of those games where it's like, okay, so the Dolphins are going to make this competitive. I think the Dolphins went down and scored on their first drive as well. If they didn't, it was their second drive, and it was right away it was there where it's like, okay, so yeah, after that first drive, I was kind of like, yeah, so that Bills minus 11.5 ain't covering, huh? And man, cover it did not. That takes us into Saturday. We'll talk about my team first to get out of the way. Colts win 41-20. They're now 3-0 in the season. They might be legit. Jonathan Taylor with 3 of them things on the ground. 17 carries for 102 yards. Daniel Jones had 228 yards with 1 passing touchdown. Something I didn't even realize watching. Daniel Jones has not thrown for two passing touchdowns yet this year, and the Colts have been really good. Titans, they just were not that good on Saturday. That's the best, or Sunday, excuse me. That's the best way to put it. They just did not play the best. And when Michael Pittman came out and said that it seems like that the Titans really didn't want to play or want to be there, and when players are coming out and saying that, there might be some real problems in that building, and we need to talk about that before half situation with Brian Callahan because it's official, man. This dude's gonna get fired. I mean, it's for sure inevitable. I mean, they're already making changes around the coaching staff and everything. So, but yeah, that halftime thing was just an absolute issue. So I forget who called timeout first. We'll just say the Colts, we'll say the Titans. The Titans called timeout first because they were gonna. Titans were gonna call timeout first because they were still trying to decide. Then they went out to kick. Colts ended up calling a timeout. Still not fully decided. Brian Callahan still making a decision, and then he eventually ends up deciding to kick it. But by this point, guess what? They take a delay game. So he still decides to kick it. At this point, this field goal is 62 yards. If they miss this, there's like 40 seconds left. The Colts are getting immediate points. And even worse, the Colts get ball at half. So at this point, it's 17-6. I mean, like this. The game, I mean, you're about to truly give them. Yeah, it's 17 to 6 at this point. And you just basically give them free points to make it 20-6. Because, like I said, they end up missing the field goal, but it was a delay game. Happened. So 2 timeouts, then a delay game, and he still decides to kick the 62-yarder, which at that point, I mean, Joey Sly has a leg, but if he misses that 62-yarder, you're giving the Colts the ball literally at midfield, basically. And guess what? Colts went on to score. Colts ended up winning big, and there's a lot going on. Titans, this just got announced an hour ago, too, apparently. Brian Callahan is handing off play calling duties to the QB's coach, Bro Hardegee. Hardegee took over play calling duties for the Raiders in 2023. They went from 15 points a game and 268 yards to 22 points a game and 294 yards. So a lot of people are asking why did he not just hand it off to the OC? Apparently he did. So this is what from what I understand. Brian Callahan and this other dude, I don't know how true this is. This is just from what I've been reading. I could have read something wrong, but it sounds like neither of them really had play calling experience. So, and I won't lie to you, watching the play calling from the Titans game, there's just a lot against the Colts. There's just a lot of plays where you're just like, why are they doing that there? Because like there was just there's just some plays where they had they actually end up having a really good play, and it's like, all right, so that's being successful. They're probably going to come back to that. Don't come back to it. Go back to something completely different. That doesn't work. And it's just like, it was just, there's a lot of questions I really, really had. And like I said, at this point, Brian Callahan's probably going to get fired. I mean, I won't lie to you. But no, the fact that he was able to hand off play calling duties might save him a bit, but it's just starting to look like that this dude might be a little bit in over his head. And like I said, I could be totally wrong about him never calling games before, but that's from what I read, is that him and the OC really didn't have too much experience calling games, so I just don't know, man. There's even, like I said, I'm not sure how true that report is. I would have to look into it deeper. I read it right before I came on when I was reading about the change, but Titans are just bad, man. I feel for Cam Ward because, like, there's potential there. Their defense isn't completely incompetent, but Cam Ward did have a really bad pick six to start the game. I mean, it was bad. Like, it was, I'm going to stare this dude down. I have no idea. Kenny Moore's basically right there baiting me to throw it, and he threw picks. But, like I said, Colts are 3-0. Massive win for them. They just keep scoring. Daniel Jones keeps looking good. Jonathan Taylor might be the best back in the league. I actually have a stat for you before I move on to the next game. It's pretty interesting. So, rushing yards this season. So, Bengals have 147, Steelers 189, Raiders 217. Those are some of the bottom of the list. We'll give you the top 6. Packers 294, Patriots 301, Saints 307, Chiefs 324. Mind you, this is rushing yards this season. Cardinals 334, Jonathan Taylor 338. Jonathan, I think this is about 10 to 12 leagues in this 10 to 12 teams in the league. Excuse me, I was trying to count and read. So yeah, basically Jonathan Taylor's out rushing over half the league. I mean, Colts are looking good, man. I'm excited. They play the Rams this week. Pretty sure they're dogs, 3.5-point dogs. I'm really excited. This is a chance after the 6 games. They're 5-1, or I think it's after 7 games. Sorry, they're 5-2, 6-1. Like there's some legitimate chances. This is one of the big tests this next week, so I'm excited to see how they look against them. I mean, I won't be shocked if they lose the game, especially how the Rams played against the Eagles, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I'm at least optimistic now. It's like, hey, Colts might be able to hang around. We'll talk about this game next just because I have saved. Chiefs won 22-9. I mean, the biggest news to come out of this game is Russell Wilson got benched. I mean, I think if you've listened to any sports show, you heard how it went towards the end of the game where it was just legit. Throw off the crossbar, throw into the tunnel. I mean, that fourth and goal at the end of the game was just brutal. But the big news, like I said, coming from this, Jackson Dart's going to get the start now for the Giants. And the big news for the Chiefs is what is going on with their passing game and their offense in general. You got to think truly Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice being out is doing a decent amount of this, but it's just like, is it also a little bit of Matt Nagy being there helping with the offensive scheme? Is it also just a little bit, they just don't have the personnel maybe? Maybe it's not even anything coaching-wise. They just don't have the personnel. I truly don't know, but their offense being this bad is just not it, man, especially from what we're not what we're used to seeing from them. But overall, like I said, Giants are going to start Jackson Dart, which for us to have the Giants going 0-5 that I gave out, little bit nervous about that Saints game now. The Chargers should be able to handle them this week. I mean, there's a chance, though. There's a lot of juice in that bet. I mean, I'm nervous now, but there's still some hope, I guess. We'll have to see. But this was just not a good showing from the Giants. Like I said, now Russell Wilson's bench for Jackson Dart. And it's a new era so far for New York. We're going to have to see how it goes. I mean, there's basically no reason to break down the Giants now. They're basically a whole new team now with Jackson Dart starting, so I'm excited to see how that ends up working out. The Steelers win 21-14 in a game they probably shouldn't have won, ? I mean, there was 2 fumbles. There was I think there was 2 fumbles in the red zone. Drake May threw a pick. I mean, there was 5 fumbles in total. I think either 4 or 5 fumbles in total by the Patriots. Ramondre had 2, Drake May had 1, and Antonio Gibson had 1. 5 turnovers, sorry. It's in the pick. So, yeah, 5 turnovers, not 5 fumbles, excuse me, but Steelers ended up winning 21-14. It just sucks because the Patriots, I forget what the exact number is, but I think it was 200 or 300 to 150. The Patriots outgained the Steelers after the second quarter, but there's literally nothing they could do on offense because they just kept turning the ball over. I mean, Ramondre got it punched out a few times, and by a few times I mean twice he fumbled. We talked about Antonio Gibson fumbling once. Drake May took a nasty shot that, won't lie to you, he might have been concussed, but there was no review or anything. He kept playing, and you look at some of the decisions he was making the second half of the game, it's like, that one might have been concussed a little bit. But overall, I mean, this was, you look at this as like, okay, that's great that the Steelers were able to get the win, but you just look at it like, would be nice if you could get a little bit more out of them, but it's, defensively, they stopped the run a lot better this week. Now, to be fair, they were playing against Ramondre Stevenson, and Ramondre Stevenson, he's all right, but overall, great win for the Steelers. Patriots, they're going to probably bounce back from this. They still seem to be a decent team, but they just need to play their young guys, man, at this point. Like, what if Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson are going to fumble, just play Travion Henderson, man. Let's see these young guys out there. I don't know why they keep playing these old guys when they need to get... I mean, they're making the mistakes and doing this stuff anyway. You might as well let the rookies be the ones making the mistakes, see if you can learn anything. But still have some hope for this Patriots team to win 9 to 10 games. But, oh, man, it's starting to slowly look rough. There were so many block kicks also in the first half of some of these games. Like, in this game we're about to talk about, Jets-Buccaneers. Buccaneers are up, 20 to 6. 23 to 6. I mean, the game's basically, over. The Jets somehow scored 21 in the second half. That last of the 21 being with 2 minutes left. Jake McLaughlin's going to kick a field goal to put the Bucs up. And this is one of the many block kicks of the day. There's a block kick to return it for a touchdown. Aaron Glenn just dancing as happy as can be on the sideline. And then, of course, Baker yet again comes back and they kick a field goal with time basically expiring to win it. This is now the third week in a row the Bucs have done this. The Bucs seem like a team that they're coming out. I mean, they're 3-0, I think, to start the year already. Yeah, 3-0, starting off the year hot. And that's just an awesome win for them. For the Jets, that's just from the highs to highs, lowest to lows. You get the block kick, you think, okay, hey, we might actually be able to do this. And then all of a sudden, you go back the other way and you watch Baker with just enough time. Walks it down, gets him in the field goal range. They don't block it this time, and the Bucs win. Great win for the Bucs. Overall, the big issue and scare for them is Mike Evans and his hamstring. It sounds like he won't miss 4 weeks, but it won't be 1 or 2 weeks. It sounds like, if anything, he'll be back 3-ish or 4. It's not. He'll be back in either 3 weeks or 4 weeks from now. Is what it from. He'll either be back in 3 or 4 weeks. That's what it kind of sounds like from now. Overall, not the best for them. But I mean, it sounds like Chris Godwin's about to be back here within the next couple days, so that's going to be good. Tristan Wirfs comes back. That wide receiver room's pretty deep as well, especially with the way Ibuka's playing. So if they can get Chris Godwin's back, they'll be able to survive a little bit without Mike Evans. But I mean, shout out to the Bucs, man. 3-0. They look like a team that's going to be all right, so this is going to be a team that can potentially contend in the playoffs. Commanders end up smacking the Raiders. They win 41-24. This was another game that was an ass beating. I mean, it was just big run after big run after big run for the Commanders. For the Raiders, it was deep pass to Trey Tucker after deep pass to Trey Tucker after deep pass to Trey Tucker. I think Trey Tucker scored all 3 of their touchdowns. Nobody else did. Genty, he had 17 for 63. Wasn't the best of games for him, but you're starting to see, hey, he's getting there. You're seeing he's starting to make some of these more. He didn't have a reception this game, which really sucked, but I don't even think he had really a target, so if he did, it was only 1 or 2, so that part was kind of concerning. There was no dump-offs his way. If you're a fantasy manager, I won't lie, that was me kind of speaking as a fantasy manager, but in general, you're starting to see it a little bit with Genty, where it's okay, he's starting to make some plays here. I mean, the pass protection still needs a little bit of work, but I mean, that's one thing where hey, he can also help out in pass protection if he's going out on the route. Hey, let me, instead of actually sitting there and blocking for you, let me run the line of scrimmage, turn around and be an outlet for you so we can get a couple extra yards instead of being a blocker. But like I said, you're starting to see it. He's having some good runs, making some good plays, so we're excited about that. Running back wise, I don't know what the Commanders are fully going to do. They had 3 guys playing. McNichols had 4 carries for 78 yards. One of them being an insane run where you think he's tackled and then he's breaking away and running anyway. But overall, this is a great win for the Commanders. Marcus Mariota played well enough to where we could see him for another week if they really want Jaden Daniel to heal. But the fact that this game is on... I did not mean to do that. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out who to get to. So the Commanders play the Falcons at 1 o'clock, so there's a chance. Terry McLaurin, though, is uncertain for week 4. He suffered a quad injury, didn't return, and he's getting it looked at now. So that could be another potential issue if they're out without Terry McLaurin. So hopefully that's a situation that we learn more from, and he'll be all right. But that's a bad injury for them. And then for the Raiders, now it's 2 tough losses in a row where you're starting to kind of look at them a little bit all right, so maybe they just had a good game against the Patriots. Now it's is this a good team? I think it's a good team. They have to beat the Bears next week. If they don't beat the Bears next week, I'll start worrying. So if they beat the Bears, I'll be all right, so this is at least they're a completely bad team. But they lose to the Bears because, like, I don't think the Bears are a horrible team, but I don't think they're the best team. So if they lose to the Bears, it's like, okay, so they're more into the Bears tier now is where I would put them. We'll talk about this game quickly. Panthers win 30-0 at home against the Falcons. I mean, this was just shocking. They just beat the shit out of them. There's even a pick six Michael Penix had. Overall, just a really, really bad showing from the Falcons offense. I really don't know what to make of it. I think they fired their wide receivers coach and their their offensive game coordinator. They fired some other position on offense. I don't think it was a play caller, but they fired 2 positions within their offense. So we're gonna see if there's some change there, but Michael Penix just played bad, man. And I mean, it was really, very bad. I think there's a stat out there that, like, Michael Penix hasn't won a game when a team scores over 7 points, and that's just like, oh, jeez. We'll say, though, the Falcons' edge defenders, they're starting to get there. The Falcons' defense isn't horrible. I mean, this showing they lost 30-0, so me saying that only holds so much weight. But overall, I mean, I don't think their defense is completely horrible. Their offense was just so incompetent that day that their defense stood no chance. I mean, that was bad. Speaking of bad, oh man, 48-10. Isaiah Rodgers becomes the first defensive player in Vikings history to score 2 touchdowns in a single game. He also is the only, I think, one of the few. I think he might actually be the only one to have a PFF game a 99.9 player, which basically means he played a perfect game as a corner, which that's really impressive. But overall, I mean, this was just Bengals looked horrible. Vikings looked amazing. Bengals looked horrible. I mean, it was. We'll talk about the other ass beating too, but I mean, this game was over in a blink of an eye. Same for the Seahawks Saints. I mean, 44-13. It was 21-3 before you could even get settled in for the game. There was a punt return. There was another punt blocked. I mean, that game was over right away. And it's just like, oh, holy hell, okay. Same with the Vikings Bengals. I mean, it was over quick. I mean, you're looking at 34-3 going into halftime. I mean, this thing was over, man. It was bad. I mean, for the Bengals and the Saints both, I mean, those are just games where it's like, eesh. For the Saints, at least, it seems like Tyler Shuck might be starting. I am curious. Before we finish that thought, actually, though, for the Bengals Vikings, before we finish the Saints Seahawks, for Bengals Vikings, now Vikings go on a 2-game road trip overseas. They're going to play in London Ireland, then London. For the Bengals, they just have a chance to bounce back next week. I mean, that was a bad loss. That was just a really bad loss for the Bengals because that was just like, oh, we got our asses beat. And now next week they go play on Monday Night Football against the Denver Broncos. So, hey, don't worry. The defense only gets a little bit easier from there. But for the Saints, man, I'm interested to see if Tyler Shuck will end up starting because Rattler just didn't look good on the road. He looked okay at home. You put him on the road, and, I mean, to be fair, they were down right away before they could even do anything, but it was just It was just bad. But like I said, I'm interested to see if Tyler Shuck ends up starting. That's just something we'll have to keep an eye on for the news. And then we'll bounce back to some of these games that we... Rams and Eagles. Rams go up 26-7. And you think that, I won't lie to you. They were up 26-7. I looked at the Eagles spreads. I'm just like, nah, I'm not going to touch it today. Which, hindsight, wish I did just in general because, I think I ended up putting that 50 on... I think it was 49ers minus 2.5. What a decision that was. But overall, this was a fun game. I mean, the Eagles were able to make a storm back a little bit, make it way closer. I mean, you're looking... excuse me, sorry about that. You're looking, it's 8 minutes left or so, and it's like, okay, they're scoring again. It's fourth quarter, and they scored again. So they already scored the 14 points in the third quarter. Fourth quarter, they score again. It's like, okay, hey, they might actually be able to... They're starting to make a comeback here. Okay. And then, like I said, they end up winning. I think they... Oh, that's what it was. Sorry. Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith. I was about to talk about the blocked field goal, but I forgot that was for the Rams. So, like I said, they end up storming all the way back. Shout out to my buddy who bet on the Rams. I feel so horrible for him. Eagles storm all the way back. Devontae Smith ends up catching a touchdown. The 2-point attempt fails. So you're like, okay, hey, the Rams at least only need a field goal and they'll be okay. So at this point, the Rams get the ball back. They march it to where they're in range to get a 44-yard field goal. So they set up for the 44-yard field goal. At this point, by the way, the Rams had a kick blocked earlier in the game. So now they're lining it back up. They have a chance to win it. It gets blocked again. This time, Jalen Carter takes it for a touchdown, which I'm glad I ended up laying off this game. I almost bet the Rams was 3.5. I would have been, like I said, my buddy was heartbroken. I would have been pissed if the 3.5 didn't cover because it's block kicked. By the way, Kyron Williams, 20 carries for 94 yards. Really good showing against this Eagles defense. A.J. Brown had 6 receptions for 109 yards and a touchdown. Puka had 11 receptions for 112 yards. But like I said, that block kicked was just soul-snatching if you were on the Rams side. If you were on the Eagles side, that was just like a yes, let's go. I mean, that was a much-needed win for the Eagles, and I think it probably helped their fans out a little bit too that they won a game like that where they threw the ball really well. Were able to come back like that. I think that was like, I mean, Eagles fans are probably going to be pissed 2 or 3 weeks from now if their offense doesn't show up, but I think for most people who are like kind of skeptical of the way the Eagles are playing this year, it's like, okay, so they still have that in there at least. Good to know. I mean, this is looking like the Eagles are going to be. I mean, you might as well just book it. Obviously, they have a whole season to play. Injuries could happen, but we're probably going to be talking about this team heading into the playoffs again. Like, all right, they're going to be a tough out. Let's see who's going to be the team that maybe can stop them because they're looking like they're going to be legit, man. And then tush push. That's going to just be discourse all season, isn't it? But it's a great win for the Eagles. Like I said, they were able to storm back to win. If you bet Rams, that's a tough loss. Speaking of tough loss, Texans fall to 0-3 now. Jaguars move up to 2-1. I'm very impressed with the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence played horrible. I'm not going to say horrible. He played slightly below average. C.J. Stroud played even below average of that. Overall, I'm just disappointed how bad the Texans' offense is. They had a chance to win this game. They probably should have won this game, but Nico Collins, it was 10-10. Nico Collins basically does a spin move in the open field into fumbling the ball with 3 minutes and about 37 seconds left. Jaguars end up coming down to score. C.J. Stroud gets a tip pass that ends up getting picked when the Texans were trying to march down to score their field goal, or excuse me, their touchdown to tie. But like I said, overall, I'm impressed with the Jaguars. I like Liam Cohen. I seen that after game speech and everything. That was awesome. The Jaguars team has some juice. Now, Trevor Lawrence is going to hurt them a little bit, though, if he keeps playing like this below average. But if they can escape with wins like this, I mean, that's really impressive. Especially, I mean, this defense is really good. The Texans have a pretty decent defense, but if their offense is going to play this bad, this team's going to be in trouble, man. I mean, their offense is bad. They have basically no run game. Their offensive line is, I don't want to say it might be worse than last year's, but it's pretty poor, man. It's a pretty bad offensive line right now. So if I'm the Texans, man, I'm just upset because it's like, man, we're 0-3. Must win against the Titans next week. But then after the Titans, you have the Ravens and the bye. I mean, you're probably, 1-5 heading into the bye. Then you play the Seahawks and Niners. Good chance that you're 2-6 There's a chance the Texans are 2-6 heading into November playing the Broncos. And Texas fans are probably like, man, we're back to this already. I mean, especially when it was only like a couple years ago they were dealing with this, and now it's just tough, man. They need to really figure out the offensive line, and them and the Bengals both. Their offensive line situations are just so bad. Broncos Chargers. This was another fun, exciting game. Now it's back and forth. Chargers end up going up a little bit early. Then the Broncos storm back to take it in the middle. Then the Chargers come back to win it late. This was just a really fun game. Bo Nix felt like he missed like 4 or 5 explosive plays, just hitting receivers on the fingertips, just out throwing them. And that's another question now with the Broncos. Is Bo Nix isn't playing horrible, but he's playing a little bit below what he was playing last year. So you wonder like kind of what's going on with him, and maybe it's just slow start to the season. But I mean, for the Chargers, this was the best case scenario. They play 3 divisional opponents. They're now 3-0. I mean, they basically control their destiny in the division. If they can just, if they basically sweep the Chiefs, the division. If they sweep the Chiefs, I don't want to say the division is theirs, but there's a good chance that's their division. I mean, this is what a start for the Chargers. 3-0. Quentin Johnson looks good. I will talk about the sad news now, though, is Najee Harris did tear his Achilles, which really, really sucks. You saw it right away. He basically went down. It was the same position we've seen everyone else tear their Achilles in with that false back step. I don't even know if it's a false step, but that little back step to get you going. Pop, he was down. Ended up hurting. Amari Hampton popped off and ended up playing really, really well. So, it's frustrating. I'll admit, I'm an Amari Hampton owner in both my leagues. I'm happy he's going to get the workload now, but I didn't want it to be this way, man. It's like, this is so gross. I wanted him to earn it and actually get the workload from him earning and being great, but he played really, really well in Najee's absence, but it's just a sad injury, man. Absolutely really, really sad injury. Especially because it's one of those, not just signed a 1-year deal. Like, this is one of those, it's going to take him a minute to come back. It's like, what does his career look like now? Like, that's, I don't want to get too sad on it, but that's one of those ones where it's like, man, that just sucks. But wishing him a speedy recovery because that's going to be a long journey ahead. And like I said, overall, the Chargers end up winning. Keenan Allen scores in 3 straight games now. He had another great game. I mean, Martin Hampton had 19 carries for 70 yards and a touchdown. He seemed to play really well. J.K. Dobbins, 11 carries for 83 and a touchdown in his revenge game. Cortland Sutton had 6 for 118 and a touchdown. This was a fun back and forth. Like I said, Chargers ended up coming down to be able to kick a field goal to win it. And, man, this Chargers team might be legit now. They finally might have gotten the structure built they needed. Really, really sucks that they lost Rashawn Slater this year because, man, if they're this good now, imagine how well they would have, or how great they could have been with Rashawn Slater. Bears beat the Cowboys' ass 31-14. I mean, so the Cowboys' defense is bad. Caleb Williams had his best career game by far as an NFL player. Best game since probably, I think a lot of people are saying his sophomore year of USC. Overall, though, he played really, really well. I bet on the Cowboys plus money when they were down 7-0. Immediately, it was like, all right, that is dead. Cool. CeeDee Lamb going out early did not help the Cowboys at all, especially because they need all their Lamborghinis on offense, especially with how bad the defense seems to be. They could really use a Micah Parsons type player right now, huh? I mean, their defense is bad. Burden had 3 receptions for 100 yards. You know what? I'll just read you the stats. I was trying to remember off the top of my head. It was actually unbelievable. Burden 3 for 101 and a touchdown. Adunze had 3 for 62 and a touchdown. It felt like he had a lot more than that, I will say. Caleb Williams threw for 298, and they won 31-14. It was really, really good game. I'll admit, really good game by the Bears. Shout out to them. They absolutely kicked the Cowboys' ass. And for the Cowboys, tough loss there. That was a game where they really felt like they needed to win it or their season could go a certain way. That's okay. They only play now they only go to play, sorry, I'm trying to line it up. They only play now the Packers, Jets, Panthers, Commanders, Broncos, Cardinals before their bye. So, not the hardest of schedules. Now you're kind of looking at it like, oh, man, can they win some of these games? Cardinals, 49ers. Cardinals end up looking like they were going to steal it at one point. It was 6-6 for the longest time ever, pretty much. And then Mac Jones completes a pass to Kyle Juszczyk. Trey McBride gets a touchdown back the other way. Mac Jones ends up getting trying to get away from a sack in the end zone, and somebody held him, which, you know what that means. Safety. So at this point, it's like, man, the 49ers are actually about to blow this, huh? They end up coming back down the field, marching the whole way down the field, especially on an injured knee for Mac Jones. Eddie Pinheiro gets field goal, 4 seconds left. 49ers end up stealing it. Really fun game. It sucks for the Cardinals they end up losing this game, but I have a little bit more respect for them. They actually almost legitimately won this. And for the 49ers, some bad news for them. Nick Bosa tore his ACL. He is done for the season. They just have so many guys injured. It's just getting sad at this point, man, with how, they just can't keep any of their guys healthy. Nobody can play together ever, it seems. And now they're losing Nick Bosa for the whole season, and he is a dominant pass rusher, a guy the defense is focused on all week when they're game planning. And like I said, he's just gone now. Bet they're really happy they drafted Michael Williams because now he's going to be even more important with that injury. Monday night, man, I got to give a round of applause to the Detroit Lions. They win 38-30. Late touchdown with 29 seconds left from Lamar Jackson where they failed the 2 points. And really, it was 38-24. The Lions, what really impressed me, there's 2 drives. One of them was 9 minutes long. The other one was, I'll just read you. Here we go. We'll just read out these, we'll just read these out for the people so they can understand them. Here's all their drives. 11 plays, 5-minute time, touchdown. Three plays, they went 3 and out there, so nothing really happened. 18 plays, 10-minute drive, they score a touchdown. They started at their own 1-yard line. They went 98 yards. Next drive, 4, they went nothing. That was 19 seconds. I'm pretty sure that was almost in half, basically. 4 plays where they do almost nothing with 22 seconds. You go third quarter, 7 plays, 3 minutes, they score a touchdown. Fourth quarter, when you need it the most, 7 plays, 3 minutes, score a touchdown. 3 plays, 58 seconds. They dominated every single possession when they had the ball. And like I said, there was that one possession where they just held on to the ball for so long. And they ended up going 95 yards on. They went 95 yards one drive, 98 the other. And you just look back like, damn, if you can't stop that, I mean, that's. And the worst part, they were like running. They kept running the ball. They were hitting some big plays when they needed them. I mean, that was just demoralizing as hell as it could be for the Ravens. Derrick Henry fumbled again, which is going to be the big storyline. That he's just been fumbling a lot lately, and you got to wonder why is that all of a sudden a thing for him. He now, I think, has 10 fumbles in his career in the fourth quarter, which if you go with the rest of it, it's like 1, 2, 3 the rest of the quarters at most, and then you're 10. It's like, okay, so that's starting to become a real issue now, and so we're going to have to keep an eye on that and see what happens with them. But Ravens go to the Chiefs next week. One of those teams are going to be 0-3. Isn't that crazy to think about? One of those teams are going to be 0-3. 0-3. We're talking Ravens. We're talking Chiefs. We're talking 0-3. Sorry, I don't know why I keep saying 0-3. 1-3. 1-3. 1-3. 1-3. Just unbelievable. 1-3. One of those teams is going to be 1-3 after next week's games. But that's going to do it for the games. Let's actually talk about some of the news real quick and catch up on any news that we missed. Man, there's some crazy college news to talk about with Oklahoma State and everything. That was just insane. We talked about Jackson Dart. He's going to be starting against Week 4 for the Chargers. The Texans are releasing T.J. Gardner-Johnson. He played 96% of the snaps. Apparently, Gardner-Johnson, Texans had issues behind the scene. The 27-year-old was reportedly frustrated with his role in the defense and critical of teammates causing problems in the locker room. So, I wonder if that's, I mean, you got to wonder if it's, oh my gosh, I want to say that's not too shocking with how much, I mean, just knowing the person he is and how much juice he brings and all that. And he is a bit of a guy who likes to, what's the best word? Likes to go back and forth a little bit. Verbally. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, like I said, apparently there's issues behind the scene, but the fact that released him is kind of crazy because I thought he played a decent amount for them and he's semi-important, so pretty big loss there. Mike Evans, like I said, he's going to miss 3-4 weeks, so hopefully he'll be back. James Conner, I forgot to bring this up. That was really sad, man. James Conner is done for the season. He hurt his ankle really, really bad. I'm going to see if I can find. We'll talk. I'll bring back up the James Conner point to see. I just remember this off the top of my head. I'll see if I can find like the actual terms for it while we're talking about some news. But he got tackled on really weird. His ankle was ended up being under him. He's carted off, and like I said, his season's over. And there's some. That was a really scary injury. It was one of those ones apparently. So they didn't show it again on the TV broadcast to let you know how bad it was. It was one of those ones where basically they showed it in the building again, and everyone was basically just like, "Oh my god." It was like one of those ones where it was just like, "Oh my god." Everyone looked away. There was like a murmur. It was pretty bad, man. We talked about the Callahan handing off play calling duty. Hopefully it'll help him be a better head coach. Because I mean, Justin Jones, he's been pretty inept so far this season. So hopefully, he just had too much going on his plate. Maybe this will help him out a little bit. Tyrone Tracy's out 2 to 4 weeks with a shoulder dislocation, so that's going to be it's Cam Scataboo time. That's what that means for the Giants. I know fans are really happy about, not about the injuries, but they're happy about seeing more Cam Scataboo. So Raheem Morris fired the wide receivers coach, and I thought there was somebody else. Passing game coordinator is now going to be the wide receivers coach. I thought there was another firing. Maybe that was it. I could have been wrong. I thought there was more, but I thought this was a report. It said Shadur's will start for the Browns in 2025. Then I read the first word, Dion, ... So it's like, okay. Well, so they made an article literally about Dion saying, shocker, Dion says the son will start for the Browns. I mean, come on now. Jimmy Ward's off the commissioner's exempt list. That hopefully means I guess that just means he'll probably return to the league team sometime here soon. He was arrested in June on suspicion of third-degree felony domestic violence, which hopefully means that at this point that case is either solved. He didn't do it. I mean, hopefully for his sake he didn't do it because that is some serious accusations. But the fact he's on a non-exempt list means that there's going to be some movement coming here soon in that. We talked about Nick Bosa. CeeDee Lamb can miss 3 to 4 weeks with a high ankle sprain. We'll see if that's 3 or 4. James Conner, it is ankle surgery for sure. So they didn't say what they still haven't gone into detail how bad it was, but it looked like it was a pretty bad injury for him. It was pretty. Yeah, it was just sad. I think that's gonna do it for the news though. Michael Penix still remains a starter, so that hasn't changed there. That's another thing we should bring up. Quinshon Judkins, he looked really good for the Browns in that game. I forgot to bring that up with them. That defense too for the Browns. I didn't even talk about that game. I totally forgot. That's on me, my bad. I guess this is just one big section after all. But yeah, the Browns look good, man. The Browns look really good against the Packers. I mean, they ended up stealing the game and screwing up our 0-5, which I want to say fuck the Packers for that. I mean, Jesus, you can't beat the Browns. But to be fair to the Browns, if that offense doesn't screw up too many times, I mean, that defense will keep you in a game. It's now 2 weeks in a row they've stopped like some legit rushing offenses. So this team's gonna be a problem for. I mean, if you can't get out ahead of them, I mean, if they hang around, the longer you hang around the game with the Browns, there's a chance they'll steal it. I mean, like I said, they legitimately stole from the Packers. They scored 10 points in 37 seconds, and then they end up blocking the Packers' last-minute field goal attempt that set up their last-minute field goal attempt. I mean, shout out to the Browns. That was a legit awesome win for the Browns. But as a guy who, like I said, bet the other side, it's kind of like, oh boy, really was enjoying the 0-5. And like I said, the Packers, pretty sour on the Packers now because of that. But that's going to do it for that point. Let's talk some college news real quick before we jump into actual games. Mike Gundy got fired, which was absolutely crazy. He's been there for 21 years. That's a situation where you thought he might just end. Like, I thought they might just let him ride out the season at least. And then at some point you either move on from him, you move him to a different position at the school since he's been there for so long. But that Oregon loss was really bad. They ended up losing to Tulsa as like 10 point. They were 10 or 12 point favorites, and they lose outright to Tulsa. So the writing was just on the wall at that point. And like I said, it's just sad for Mike Gundy, man. Sad for Mike Gundy that it went out this way. He's only had 2 losing seasons in his 21-year career. They're Oklahoma State. It just, a lot of people were saying the Times just caught up to him, and that could have been the case. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, it's a sad way to go. Clemson, I mean, that's tough. Illinois, Steve Angeli ends up tearing his Achilles. He's going to be done for the rest of the season. That's really sad for Syracuse. They actually ended up getting an insane upset win. Let's talk about that. Let's just talk about the game, yeah. There wasn't too much news. I really want to talk about that Gundy stuff, and then I want to talk about those 1 or 2 injuries. But I mean, Rice ended up coming for us on Friday or Thursday. Like, that was awesome. Friday, like I said, Oklahoma State loses 12-19 to Tulsa, and I think that was basically just the writing on the wall. Iowa pulls away late to win 38-28 against Rutgers. Notre Dame wins 56-30 against Purdue. The fact that Purdue scored 30 this year on Notre Dame, I'm a bit concerned about that defense, man. That defense is really having me hot and bothered. Texas Tech, they pull away late, 34-10 to beat Utah. This game was like 17-10, 24-10. And then they got some scores really late. I'm talking 8 minutes left, they scored, and then there was a touchdown with 3 minutes, passing touchdown with 1 minute. So, I mean, regardless, though, they won handily. I mean, they made Devin Dampier look bad. Texas Tech just, it's nice to know that if their starter goes out, their backup looks legit. I thought it was one of those situations, the back came in, I'm like, all right, this is Utah's chance. And the backup actually looked better than the starter. So it's like, oh, okay, so Texas Tech, going to be legit. Memphis ends up stealing it late. They score, they outscore, 15-3. They outscore Arkansas 15-3 in the second half to end up winning that game. That's a tough loss for Arkansas. It makes you kind of wonder what's going to happen with Sam Pittman. You got to think that he's probably, I mean, I feel that's a tough job in general, but you got to think he's probably going to be out there. TCU, SMU. TCU wins 35-24. SMU's defense doesn't seem like they're going to be the best this year. But shout out to TCU, massive win there. TCU looking like they're going to be a legit Big 12 team this year, and they might be one of the. I mean, as of right now, Texas Tech, TCU. I'm trying to think of some other Big 12 schools. Maybe Kansas. There's 1 or 2 others I want to talk about that they're going to be up there for the Big 12 championship game, man. Hey, TCU might have a squad now. UNLV Miami. UNLV wins 41-38. This game was actually super fun. Didn't get to catch it, sadly, but I was score watching it. It makes me sad I didn't watch it because ended up seeming like it was a lot of fun. Maryland was 27-10 against Wisconsin. That's a straight upset. Wisconsin was favored by 10. And now it's awesome. For our season win total, we literally just need... This was an awesome win for Maryland because we literally need one game. Next game, the Maryland wins. That's the season win total hit for us. So that's going to be actually the first... I think that's going to be the first one to hit all season. So that would be dope. First, that'd be our first futures hit of the year. And we can get it as early as week 5, 6, 7. Because I won't lie to you. Maryland schedule, if we go over it real quick. You got Washington, Nebraska, UCLA, Indiana, Rutgers, Illinois, Michigan, Michigan State. I definitely think they could potentially beat UCLA, could potentially beat Michigan State. That quarterback's legit. He seems like he's going to be really, really good. They could definitely beat Rutgers. I mean, there's some games on there that are for sure winnable. So, shout out to Maryland. Within the next, 4 to 5 weeks, we should have that hit for us. Syracuse beats Clemson 34-21. Clemson's just in free fall at this point. Their season's for sure over. At this point, they just... What? They got to go 5 and 8, 9, 10, 11. They got to go 5 and 3 to make a bowl. I mean, it's... We're talking about Clemson. This team was talked about as a national championship team, and now we're just talking they got to go 5 and 3 to make a bowl, man. It's sad. I mean, they basically got to win forever. It's sad. Really, really sad what's happening to the program this year. Makes you kind of wonder I'm not going to go as far with the Mike Gundy thing with Dabble. Is Dabble going to get fired? But makes you really wonder what is going on this year, dude. Because that's a tough scene there, man. That is an absolutely tough scene. Is there any other big games to talk about? Oklahoma, Oregon, Oklahoma, and John Mateer. Look, John Mateer might not be the best quarterback, but he's definitely decent. Oklahoma might not be the best team. Definitely a top 15-ish team, so that's a team I'm excited to watch, a Red River rivalry. I knew that was going to happen. Damn it, man. I knew that was going to happen. Red River rivalry. I'm excited to see that in 2 weeks when Oklahoma takes on Texas. I think Texas actually has a tough matchup this week. Ole Miss with Trinidad Chandless. They win 45-10. He potentially might be the new quarterback there against Tulane. I thought Tulane might cover. Got that ass beat, boy. Michigan 30-27. They get a massive win for them against Nebraska. Toledo ends up losing to Western Michigan. That's a tough loss for Toledo. Georgia Tech loses the cover with 3 seconds left. They score a touchdown. That was tough. West Virginia loses 41-10 to Kansas. So that's probably the last you'll hear me talk about West Virginia on this show this year. I'll probably talk about them a little bit here and there because we do have their season win total over, so I'll be keeping an eye on it. But boy, not looking good. Missouri wins 29-20 over South Carolina. That was a good win for them. Miami wins 26-7 over Florida. I mean, that defense is legit. And now it's looking like, okay, so the U might be there at the end of the year. That's another, on the ACC, it's them. We could see Georgia Tech, Miami for the ACC title. That's my prediction as of today. We'll see if it stays. Like I said, Indiana just beat Illinois' ass. It was bad. 63-10. Illinois had no DBs basically by the end of the game, but when HCB they lost, the offense just got worse and worse. And San Diego State, they went 34-0 over Cal. That was shocking. I mean, that basically, I think that woke up Cal for a lot of the season. Like, hey, you can't just... Cal's not one of those teams that anyway can just go into any game playing like a days and be like, oh, we can win this. They really gotta show up. And like I said, they did not show up, and they lost 34-0. 34-0. They got that ass beat. And then USC beats Michigan State 45-31. Gonna be interesting to see what USC does next week. They play Illinois now. On the road. Let's see if they can now, because they go from a really, really late night game to I think that game's kind of early. And that was a good win for USC. Now they're going to hopefully get talked about a little bit more for their sake, because I'll admit, they're a pretty good team that I'm not going to talk about too much. Now if we're talking AP Top 25, you got Ohio State at 1, the U at 2, Penn State 3, LSU at 4, Georgia 5, Oregon, Oklahoma, Florida State, Texas A&M, Texas rounds out the top 10. Indiana 11, Texas Tech at 12, Ole Miss at 13, Iowa State at 14, Tennessee at 15, Georgia Tech, Alabama, Vanderbilt, Michigan, Missouri round out to 20, USC 21, Notre Dame 22, Illinois 23, TCU 24, BYU 25. Thank y'all for watching. Thanks for support. I really do appreciate it. Man, bit of a long one today. We're I still don't exactly know how I want to do these episodes, so we're still gonna try to bounce around and figure it out as the season goes on. For sure, as the NFL season goes on, we're gonna talk about games like we talked about it. We're gonna talk about games less and less. Like I won't lie to you, Jets Dolphins next week. Probably not gonna talk about it too much, but there are gonna be games in the NFL where slowly overall, like when the teams just really don't matter, we just aren't gonna talk about the games too much because I want to get into. I want to slowly and surely start getting into more detail about like, hey, this team played really good. Hey, this team did this. Hey, this team did that. And we're probably gonna do the same with college, honestly, where some weeks there was a lot of the top 25 teams were out of action. Some of the top 25 teams didn't play each other, so it's like we need to talk about Texas winning 55-0 over Sam Houston. It doesn't really do anything. I want to talk about what I kind of want to talk about with some of the exciting action that you see in college. And then NFL, I want to talk about every game a little bit, but some of these games, they matter just a little bit more each weekend. So, yeah. Well, like I said, tomorrow, Pickem Thursdays, on a Wednesday. And got my NFL bets, college football bets. And we're back at it, man. Week 4 of the NFL, week 5 of college. I mean, it really is crazy how fast it's flying by. I just thought about it the other day, and not to make this outro too long, but it's like, I was just sitting there, it's like, man, before you know it, it's going to be November. And it's going to be like, man, it's cold outside. And then before you know it again, it's going to be January. Those thoughts are already appeared in my head, like, where it's like, man, because we're already on the week 4. Already about a month into the season. Couldn't be more excited, man. See everyone in this feed tomorrow for some Pick'em Thursdays on a Wednesday.